Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Speaking of keeping up to date, if you'd like to keep up to date with the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now, speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all the people who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out to Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvolt, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As The Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Felix Hung, Fireball X, Godrockin, Jeronism, Kirsten Smith, Life is Short, Matt, Michael, Page Love, Qatar Craig, Reinhardt, Renee, Sam, Skeptic936, Texas Mike, theflatearthchannel.com, Tina Baker, and Tom, should have rehearsed this name, Herkins, Heurkins. I'm going to call that Herkins. Hopefully I've not butchered your name, Tom. I'm really sorry. But thank you very much indeed for supporting me on Patreon, one and all. Now we're joined by Righteous Force on G+. How you doing, Righteous?
Hey. So just me, eh?
Just you at the moment? I was saying yesterday, like the right-hand man in Discord. Or maybe not.
I don't always stick around all the time. Like, I usually leave like around 2 hours. And then I come back near the tail end usually. But yesterday was interesting. Like yesterday after you guys ended the show, there was a ton of people in Discord. It was pretty chaotic, kind of.
Loads of people join after the live show ends. I don't know what it is about the live show that scares them. Globeheads, that is.
I think it's because they watch live, and then once the live stream ends, they all want to watch more, so they all pile up in Discord.
Oh, I see. So they're enjoying the live show, and then they're like, "Well, obviously, I can watch the continuation of this conversation if I join Discord."
Yeah,
I see.
and it's a bit more calm and unscripted, kind of like you always used to say.
All unscripted,
well,
though.
I guess it's not calm because that's when the ballers come and that's when things get heated too. So,
hello.
Hello, how's it going, Flatsoid?
Good on that side?
Excellent. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Any controversial videos had to be produced, Flatsoid? Any infighting with any other flat earthers?
No, not that I know of, except the math that I put up. People aren't very happy with me.
Map? They're not. What's wrong? What's the issue? Tell me more.
Not math, because everybody's complaining. You know, the 8 inches per square mile thing is not correct. So I actually asked Globus to give me the right math then. But still, their math anyway comes up to about the same, and it still disproves what you observe. So they don't like it.
The main thing they don't like about that is that it doesn't include the observer height. That's about it. They're just being, what's the word when they're being like fussy about it? I'm not sure what the word is I'm looking for.
Sorry, we've
something.
Not
yeah,
but there's a more classy word.
Moaning that the 8 inches comes up is actually for a parabola. It's not for a sphere. So then ask them. I just want the right math, and then we can work it out.
Then it just.
But yeah, people aren't really happy because even the math they give to me, it still supports the 8 inch per square mile for their model.
Then it's a red herring if they use that excuse, because for the distances we use, it's good enough. We're not using it for like the whole shape that they assume. It's good for certain distances, basically. So that's just like red herring.
Yeah, it's just an approximate. Yeah, it works for, I think, quite approximate to about 100 miles, and then from there on, that's where the problem comes. But who observes past 100 miles anyway?
Not where the problems begin. The problems begin with the assumption of an R value and the ignorance of perspective.
My big issue is perspective ignoring, because it's hard to explain that to people.
How about this?
But even with without
go
like perspective, it doesn't really work. Like even if you give that to them, it's still kind of messy.
Things get smaller with distance until they eventually disappear. The curve calculator ignores that fact and says things get smaller with distance and eventually disappear because of Earth curve, while simultaneously ignoring perspective. There you go. That's a summary.
Yeah, which is wrong. That's what I'm trying to point it out.
I just give it the title, begging the question, because it assumes R. Proof of nothing, because it assumes R. Perspective hijacking, because the effects they're describing are merely the effects of perspective. Curve calculator.
You've said it so many times that it's like drilled in my mind.
Hi, Tintin.
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
Hello, Tant. And
So-
hello, Flatsoid, if I didn't say hello.
We're doing some brain surgery with drills. What's going on?
Talking about it's for some reason we've had a nostalgic trip over the last couple of days, and now we're talking about curve calculators. So like a trip down memory lane.
Okay.
Alan was in yesterday, right? Have you ever met Alan before, 10th Man?
Yeah, I remember he came on last time, which was a few months ago, and he says, "I'll see you guys on the 11th or something." And I said, "Yeah, this guy's a character." So I went to my calendar, put Alan coming back on the 11th. So he came back a bit early.
I know Alan. I'm a long-time viewer.
So this will be the second time I've met Alan, but he's a character.
Yeah, I think he originally came in the show named Bill or something like that. I've got a little snippet somewhere like akin to a toe tag, but not, where he comes in as someone completely different in probably within the first 100 shows. But then he changed his name to Alan Bennett. Well, not Alan. Yeah, no, I think he did come under Alan Bennett at some stage. Obviously, his pictures of Alan Bennett.
Yeah, that was we had a funny intro with each other. When we first met a few months ago, I asked him where he was from, and he got a little bit funny with me, and then he said, "Where are you from?" I go, "My mother."
Is that the guy that's in Singapore at the moment?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
he's
one.
fun. He's a fun guy.
Yeah, he's got a cool personality.
Yeah, I think the way I do my puns. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, just tread with care.
Yeah. No, I understand. There's a side to him that's there that it's nebulous at the moment, but if he stays in his fun surface side, he's okay. I don't see a problem.
Is he a flat earther?
Is he hell? No.
Thought so.
I've
No,
had
I asked him too.
plenty of globe Earth versus flat Earth arguments with Alan Bennett. Normally when he thinks he's getting a clever little dig in. So then that gets very heavily focused on for a few moments, which elapses into a few minutes, which might elapse into longer with his toes held to the fire. That's happened a few occasions.
No, you
Sorry,
missed
Ash.
Go on.
You missed the call. You missed the call yesterday where I asked him what was his plane flight duration, so he could order a drink and put the cup on the platform, the little table in front of him, and he could see that the water is level at cruising altitude, and the pilot wouldn't have to be dipping to account for the curve. That's
Yeah, shout out to D Marble.
yeah, exactly. But he used the spirit level, right? He didn't do the drink.
Yeah. Right, but this is I would use that So if I was to sort of be taking apart the affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy that is the southern hemisphere star rotation, I would point out that you start with the presupposition that the southern hemisphere stars, clue is in the title, begging the question with a hemisphere. Anyway, the southern hemisphere stars are antipodal to you in your northern location. So you're going to travel and end up basically upside down from where you were, antipode from where you were. Well, that assumption is then backed up by you travelling and observing absolutely no drop or curvature on your travels. You observe a flat plane as you go. So that is something that I would utilise. Yes, I've done it myself. I've travelled vast distances to the southern hemisphere and asked myself that very question. Why am I not observing any curvature? Why am I seeming to travel across a flat plane? The sky is always above me, the ground is always below me, and when I arrive, I'm just told that I'm antipode to where I began. Well, I don't observe that, I don't experience that, I in no way, shape or form feel like I am now antipode to where I started. The sky is still above me, the ground is still below me. But for the fact that you automatically assume that is the case, and then assert that something you observe above your head is actually below your arse from where you started, well, that's an affirming the consequent. If I observe star rotations in the southern hemisphere, then the Earth is a sphere. The Earth is a sphere because I observe southern rotations in that hemisphere that I've presupposed I've travelled to somewhere that I'm standing upside down from where I began. Just a begging the question formal logical fallacy, affirming the consequent, right? But you'd take it apart using Daryl Marble's example with his spirit level. You're travelling and you're not observing any curvature. You don't experience travelling to the other side of a sphere Earth model. That you don't in any way experience that, and that's just a nice visual demonstration of precisely that. It got a lot of stick because it's the simplest stuff that makes the most sense. Are you getting on your plane, fellow traveller, and experiencing an Earth that curves on your journey? No, you are not. You're also told by the highest of high double-speaking heliocentric priests that you cannot get up high enough to observe a curve of an Earth at 30,000 feet or cruising altitude. Neil deGrasse Tyson with his little beach ball, that stuff is flat. So what he's telling you is you observe a flat plane when you travel from one side of an alleged ball to the other. And that's a crock of crap, which is why I call him a double-speaking heliocentric priest, because you should absolutely observe curvature, more so when you rise in altitude. But they're telling you, no, you wouldn't even see it from probably the ISS, that's a fisheye lens. Oh, right. So what you're basically telling us is we always observe a flat Earth. Well, yeah, I know that. That's observably obvious to anybody with a set of eyeballs. But for the fact that you assume you're travelling to the other side of a ball, you wouldn't form the opinion that you've got antipodal star rotation. And it's part of the logical fallacy when it's presented to you to debunk. Well, how do you explain southern star rotations in a ball, I presuppose, and tell you that you're going to travel to when you look at them? Oh, well, you're just telling me I've got to presuppose it when I go there. No, it's the only model that works. I couldn't give a crap. I always observe the sky above me, unless I'm told and demanded by you that I presuppose I've travelled to the bottom of it. When I go on a plane, I could hold a spirit level or put a cup of water on the tray in front of me and observe it's bloody flat the entire way. Nothing out the window suggests I'm dropping. Nobody's accounting for any drop in the actual mechanics of the aircraft itself. So there is no drop. That's what I'm observing. That's what your priests say. So what is it that makes me lead to the conclusion that I should assume I'm now antipode to myself? What, you telling me I must in your logical fallacy? Nah. Shout out to D Marble.
Yeah, shout out to D Marble. This also takes care of.
Yep.
This also takes care of the ships disappearing or the bottom disappearing first in these stupid arguments where they don't want to account for perspective and the earthquake calculator. Because if it's disappearing in such a short distance here on the seashore, then what you just said about the airplane should be obvious just within 100 miles easy.
Exactly. If the Earth was a sphere,
consequent.
it would be
How
obviously...
the ball started.
Sorry, go on.
I said affirming the consequent is how the ball started.
Yeah.
Like in many cases, when you look back, it's all affirming the consequent, pretty much.
Absolutely. Beg the question and affirm the consequent. I assume this is the case. Now, if I double check it by confirming what I assume with my assumption in mind, then I confirm my assumption is true it's the best model that works.
I had Zanuck yesterday on the Discord server on the, I think the after show, saying that math proves things. But then you hear on the other side of the coin that the scientific method does not prove things.
Yeah, maths,
and I go
description.
and they were talking about our discussion yesterday about the Coriolis effect, and because they kept saying, well, Nathan doesn't understand the tangential speed change that she really talks about the Coriolis effect, because you don't understand the inertial frame and all this stuff. And I basically asked them one question. So if the plane and the Earth move in conjunction, you can't prove rotation, right? And they had to admit yes. So you can't prove rotation that way using the Coriolis effect. And I said, then if you don't admit when you go north and south that the pilots or projectiles don't account for this tangential speed, if they don't account for it, then you can't prove it there either. So
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join this discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Righteous Force, Paul, Flatsoid, Arwin, 10th Man, and I believe that's Chocolate Saying. Very good to have you one and all.
Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Night job, isn't it?
good morning.
Hello. Was I right? Is that Chocolate? Slightly
Looks
different
like
avatar. I think it is. It's just a new avatar.
Yeah, that's him. He just got a new icon.
Chocolate.
That's him.
Cool. Very good to have you. We've also got a couple of people in Discord as well, so I'll just raise the mics on you guys. Hello to everybody in Discord.
Good morning.
Hello. Good to have you. Any evidence of Earth, Kev?
Nope.
No,
Nothing in South Africa.
presupposition.
I might have something.
Whoa. Go ahead.
Hold on. Screen share. Entire screen. Okay, hold on. Okay, am I on screen?
Yeah.
You are. Got the
Alright.
proof up.
Can Arwen read this for me? This
Arwen.
part.
Hear us?
Proof is the evidence that shows something is true or valid when you show the logical steps that take you from your hypothesis that the world is round to conclusion that it is. You're formulating a proof. Okay.
There you go. Semantics. Who would have thought it finally sides with the globe?
That-
I don't know. I thought that was funny because we were talking about proof in Discord yesterday, and I stumbled upon that one.
Well,
See-
that seems like a philosophical statement.
Right.
No.
Because they're working with a model.
I don't know. It just sounded like a generalized philosophical statement.
Not at
so I
all.
don't-
It had the word hypothesis in there.
Yeah, I know.
If you want to talk about semantics, you take the words, you follow the Socratic method, you discover the meaning, And when you get to that one word, hypothesis, oh, what's a hypothesis? Well, let me tell you, that would be a scientific prediction right there, establishing the cause of an effect. That's what a hypothesis is.
But it also gets it wrong because we all know the shape of the Earth is not a cause and effect.
The nature of
that-
Earth.
Yeah, and we also know that hypotheses lead to empirical results. You either prove or disprove your hypothesis upon performance of systematic experimentation. So you've got that one little word sticking out there like a sore thumb. So you can write stuff down, you can publish it, but then you get down to the semantics, the Socratic method. Let's have a look at what the words and their meanings. What does this actually mean? What's this word stuck in there to sound like they've got something empirical in this definition of proof? Oh, hypothesis. Well, what's that? Scientific prediction. Well, what's that? The establishment of a natural phenomenon and the establishment of your presumed cause that you'll go forth to validate or invalidate based on that hypothesis. Is that what you're doing here? Doesn't seem so. So, yeah.
Yeah, they just get you their way of conforming and getting people to believe their model is to just keep putting this kind of stuff out there surrounded by these other words and then slip in a word that shouldn't be there. And the people say, yeah, someone else, did all my thinking, so the Earth is a ball. Yeah.
Not a bad attempt, though. You can find citations for anything, but that's why we say you need cowbell. You don't just need the citation. That doesn't stand alone. Unfortunately, you've got to back your citation. And if you're getting down to the nitty-gritty of merely the words that are being used, and if you can't back that particular word, hypothesis in this example, then citation's bunk. That's Sean Tibbetts.
And when you're asked for a citation, you might want to make sure that your citation doesn't debunk you.
Oh, right. Would you like to give us an example, Kosho? Chocolate.
Say that again.
Shout out to Sean Tibbetts for the super chat. Would you like to give an example of where giving a citation that undoes your own argument isn't necessarily a great idea? No particular hint to anybody. Kosho.
I don't know, when you're basically asserting that the reason for the Coriolis is due to the changing of latitude lines. Well, that's a problem, because when you cite that, and in the very citation it says that the very reason for it is a difference in reference frames, well, that's a problem. Big problem.
Right on. So Kosho's arguing that you take off in your plane and you retain the tangential velocity of the Earth's spin. And his citation makes it clear that in reality, the Earth turns underneath for you to have Earth-based Coriolis effect. The problem being his reasoning behind alleging that the tangential velocity is retained is that we do not observe any Coriolis effect. In this example, a helicopter. So the helicopter takes off and hovers. Hovers, meaning it's above the same piece of ground? Well, if you've got a Coriolis effect, it's not doing that. It's not hovering. The Earth underneath it's turning. That's what's supposed to be happening if you have an Earth-based Coriolis effect. Helicopters aren't hovering anymore. That's not possible. The Earth's turning underneath at a substantial rate in order for you to have that Coriolis effect alleged by Neil deGrasse Tyson. Oh, right, the Earth turned underneath the ball, therefore it went through the goal, right, Tyson? So the helicopter takes off and the Earth turns underneath it, like with that ball. Oh, what's that? You say no, they can hover? Well, then we have no Earth turning underneath, like in Kosho's example, which made it explicitly clear that Earth should be turning underneath planes. And if Earth turns underneath planes and you travel west, your flight time's going to be significantly shortened because the Earth's turning underneath, right? So why doesn't that happen? Oh, because the Earth does not turn underneath. And in Kosho's example, I was asking him, given that your citation and your explanation is that the Earth turns underneath at different speeds at different latitudes, how fast is it turning underneath the helicopter that's hovering? Answer, it isn't. And that's something we actually observe as opposed to nonsense word salad about the relation between Coriolis effect, which is real, and how Earth should be having one, which is then undone by people like George Netanyahu telling you the Earth and atmosphere travel as one. defying the fact that we have multiple directions of surface winds and that gas by its nature is free to move in all directions unbonded to not only itself but definitely not the ground. So we have people telling you why you would not have a Coriolis effect. Why does the helicopter hover? Oh, well, because Earth and atmosphere travel as one. It retains tangential velocity. That's why Earth and atmosphere don't exhibit any Coriolis effect. And you ask yourself, well, why would you be arguing for a situation where we don't have Coriolis effect when this is your proof of Earth rotation? Surely you should be arguing as for having a Coriolis effect. Why on earth would you assert that Earth and atmosphere travel as one when that wouldn't give you a Coriolis effect? Would it because that's what we actually observe, no Coriolis effect, and you need to get around that awkward detail? Yeah, I do believe that's the case. Where the heck is Spurs, says Shape, the shape of my world, XIII. Thank you very much for the super chat, shape of my world. I don't know where the heck Spurs is.
Oh, he's close by.
I'd like to add something to that.
Go ahead, Bubs.
So I think what Kosha was trying to do yesterday was trying to relate to Newton's first laws, in particular Newton's laws of motion. So that dictates that anything that is in motion is going to stay in motion until another force acts upon it. So when he says that airplanes maintain tangential velocity, he's referring to Newtonian laws of motion.
Where did the law come from? What observation?
Newton's laws of motion were not right. I believe that's a Richard Feynman quote.
Right, they're not correct, but I think that's what Kosha was talking about. But in that case, that would mean that that would apply to bullets as well, because bullets are also on Earth, maintaining Earth's rotation. So you would have no Coriolis effect based on that.
Yeah, if it you've got two camps. One says that it retains the inertial velocity of the non-inertial reference frame. The spinning ball Earth and its speed are kept by the plane or the bullet as it leaves. Well, that description doesn't give you any Coriolis effect. The reason they give you that description and fight at great lengths to say Earth and atmosphere travel as one is because that's what we observe. Not Earth and atmosphere travelling as one and one reference frame, just no movement, no deviation, no Coriolis effect. A helicopter can take off and hover. Does the Earth rotate underneath as it should? That's what Coriolis is. You observing the helicopter appearing to deviate because you rotate underneath it, which would mean it isn't hovering. The Earth spins underneath it if you've got Coriolis. Well, you point out to them that helicopters can hover, and they go, oh no, it's because the Earth and atmosphere are travelling as one, as they both spin together. Well, no, that can't be possible. You've got multiple surface winds, and that wouldn't give you Coriolis.
Well, I was hiking out this morning.
Not just that, but if you're...
Sorry, go on, Babs.
And not just that, but if you're taking a flight from west to east, and you're going like against the spin of the Earth, based on Kosho's understanding of maintaining inertial velocity, that would mean that the plane would be moving backwards when you're taking off. And I don't think that's what's really happening.
You mean east to west? You mean east to west, because west to east is the way the Earth is turning.
Right, so it would be east to west, I believe.
He's saying it maintains an eastward velocity. It's taking off towards the west. It's retaining its eastward velocity as the Earth turns. In other words, it takes off and it continues to move eastward with the rotation of Earth. That's what he's alleging. But in so doing, it negates all Coriolis effect that they're arguing for. So they're literally arguing for a situation that doesn't give them Coriolis. Why? Because we don't observe Coriolis effect. It is as simple as that. So people like George, I mean, these people are absolutely insane. I mean, and stupid, because they're arguing in the face of multiple surface winds and the nature of gas when they claim that we must have this situation where Earth and atmosphere travel as one so that we don't have a Coriolis. That's essentially what George is doing. It's insane. I mean, but that's the level of stupidity when you get a bit older and senile. You know, you start fighting for things that fly in the face of natural laws, like what gas do, how they behave. They're not bonded to anything. But he'll say it's bonded with the spinning Earth because he's got a religious belief and he's getting on a bit. Senility is a very real problem for these people. And they'll assert this nonsense, even though it's completely wrong. And, I'll tell him and then he'll forget immediately. Senility again. But nevertheless, I'll go in and remind people like George that no, you can't have it all travelling with the Earth that spins if you've got multiple surface winds, and gas doesn't do that. It's unbonded. But they can't really comprehend that. It's like teaching an old dog new tricks. They can't really take it on quick enough. But yeah, they're essentially fighting for having no Coriolis. So next time George tells you Earth and atmosphere, movers one, say, that doesn't give you Coriolis, George. That's one reference frame.
And we don't even have to wait
Exactly.
for
I could be wrong. I
mean,
wish
Kosher was on here
to
yesterday
explain
saying
what
the
he
exact
actually
same
means.
thing.
Hold on, Babs. Go ahead, Chocolate.
No, I was saying that we don't have to wait for these guys to get senile because Kosher was on here yesterday saying the exact same thing.
Oh, well, that he should blame George. He probably listens to people like George and thinks that they should be respected, like Rumpus will tell people. You should respect this senile old bastard because he's telling you a load of old nonsense that defies gas law and surface winds. So you listen to this old git. And then people like Kosho will listen to him because Rumpus has told him to, and George asserts it with such authority that people believe they should think he's right, even though he's absolutely senile and hasn't got the slightest clue what he's talking about. He's flying in the face of natural laws and multiple directions of winds. Well, it's all travelling in one direction with Earth spin. No, it isn't. Literally, it isn't doing that. Self-observed. You can see it on a weather forecast when they point the arrows in opposite directions. No, it's not doing that, you senile old bastard. Just get yourself together, mate. Maybe get yourself committed. It's about right time if you're asserting things that fly in the face of the way the gas behaves. But people like Kosho will listen. And as a consequence of listening to stupid people like George Netanyahu, they end up making themselves look silly and saying that the Earth rotates underneath at different rates at different latitudes. Then you go, how fast does it rotate underneath a helicopter? And you have to ask them 20 times because they know that there's a problem. There's a contradiction. It's not rotating underneath a hovering helicopter, but they're arguing that it's rotating underneath at varying speeds depending on where you are, but it isn't. So they've got a very real problem. And George hasn't given them the answers. He's just given them a load of nonsense that flies in the face of natural laws, like gas being carried along by spinning bodies. Just nonsense.
Well, also, Nathan, there's that third part that they slip into by holding this position, which is when they try to say, well, when you're in a car going 70 miles an hour, or if you're in a train caboose or in the fuselage of an airplane. Okay, so then what you're saying is you just traded in your open system to a closed system, a single reference frame for everything. So now they changed their open system for a closed system by denying Coriolis.
Yeah. I mean, I've got into that with George Netanyahu again back in the day when he starts asserting these things, and I've quizzed him on open and closed systems, and we get some really stupid quotes out of these senile people. A closed thermos is an open system. Just people that are stupid. They don't understand anything, even the basics of physics. They don't understand how gas works. They don't understand how Coriolis works. But like I say, people for some reason respect these people, and maybe I need to educate people that, when some people get senile, they don't know they're senile. They're going to tell you they're normal and smart. But, if you're going to listen to people who are obviously crazy in their assertions, if someone's telling you that gas can be bonded to things when that's fundamentally flying in the face of how gas behaves, you've got to ask yourself, is this person of sound mind? Now, I obviously know no, that person's definitely not of sound mind, demonstrably by the things they say. So, but some people still believe them.
Retards don't know that they're retards until someone tells them.
But like I say, Kosho's obviously listened to George Netanyahu and maybe he respects him, and that's, kind of endearing, but at the same time also kind of sad and pathetic, and just demonstrates how stupid the people who listen to those sorts of people are. Kosho being one of them. It's kind of pathetic, but, I've just kind of turned from anger to pity with people like Kosho. You try and educate them in terms of how Coriolis works, and they assert that Coriolis on Earth means you've got Earth rotating at different speeds, at different latitudes. And then you say, well, okay, the helicopter on the equator, how fast is that rotating? 1,000 miles an hour with the Earth. And I have to ask him 15 or 16 times, no, I'm asking how fast does the Earth rotate underneath, because that's what Coriolis is. And the answer is, it isn't rotating underneath. And yeah, it isn't. Earth's not rotating underneath things. There isn't any Earth rotation. There isn't any Coriolis effect. That's why they've got to argue so vehemently for Earth travelling with the atmosphere. Preposterous nonsense. Put forth by senile idiots. But there we go. That's who you're looking up to, fundies. Senile idiots that really don't understand how the world works. That's okay. I'm happy as a flat earther to really smack these people around with their nonsense idiocy and tell them just how senile they are. I've told George, I've made it very plain to him, you're obviously senile. For all the reasons I'm giving now, and I'm not got any shame in this. It's demonstratable by what he says. If you're going to behave like you're senile, then that's your bag. But if you're going to say things that demonstrate you're senile, I'm going to be here to point that out, your senility. So, some people are just a bit past it in this regard. They don't really understand how things work, and they'll still go around telling people because they just don't recognise just how far gone they really are. It's a shame. We should really pity George.
Right. It seems unwillingness. It seems unwillingness from the ballers to accept that the Coriolis situation is a black and white situation. It's either there and everything's subjected to it, or it is not and nothing is subjected to it. It can't be there for some things and not there for other things at the same time. That's physically impossible.
But that was his argument. Kosho's argument is that the helicopter is hovering and then it starts moving north and experiences a different speed of the Earth rotating underneath. Well, what's the speed difference? What's the speed difference? It starts
right
at what?
About that point, because on a ball, you're going to experience different speeds on different latitudes because you're covering a smaller area.
Yeah, sure. So what's the starting speed for a helicopter?
Yeah, you would have to start with moving first.
Yeah, you'd have to have it rotating underneath.
Different speeds, that's cool. Once we're moving, we could worry about the speeds. Let's start with the moving first, right?
Yeah, in that logic, you've got the helicopter. That's why you wouldn't answer. What's the speed of the Earth rotating underneath the helicopter then? Answer, 0. So you've got a helicopter that's not rotating. He's saying, it retains the inertial velocity. Well, then it's not rotating underneath. That's no Coriolis effect. So what he's saying is it moves north a bit, just goes off course a bit, and suddenly on the equator it's got a 900 mile an hour spin underneath it. No. That's a complete contradiction in terms, like Arwin says. It's either spinning or it's not spinning. Now, what do we observe? Well, we observe helicopters that can absolutely hover. They're not having the Earth rotate underneath, but they must if it's spinning. You must see the Earth rotating underneath helicopters and planes and bullets and balls, like Neil deGrasse Tyson asserts. What's that? Ball goes through goal because goal moved underneath. Oh, well then if it's moving underneath that ball, it's moving underneath the helicopter. Oh dear, Kosho. That's where your argument falls apart. Because it's got a 0 speed underneath it when it's hovering. That's what we actually observe. The Earth not turning. So, bit of a problem when you're asserting Coriolis is real and Earth turns underneath everything. It doesn't. It's not turning.
Based on his example, the helicopter would be moving at the same speed of Earth, since it's maintaining its velocity. But that doesn't mean that Earth wouldn't be moving. It still would be moving in that example.
Oh, right, but there'd be no Coriolis effect. So
exactly, you wouldn't have any Coriolis. That's the whole thing. Whether if it's moving at the same speed as the Earth, there's no Coriolis. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Not only that, it's demonstrably obvious that that isn't the case, given that we have multiple directions of surface winds.
Right. Or you know what? I could propose another type of setup. How high does a helicopter need to go in? At what height does it need to go for it to be forced to tilt its direction in order to stay above the same ground?
Didn't Felix Baumgartner come back down in exactly the same spot, pretty much?
Pretty
that brings
much,
up an interesting point, actually. That brings up an interesting point. To stay in the same reference frame, wouldn't you have to virtually be at the same altitude? Because as soon as you start increasing in altitude, you're moved out of that same reference frame. Because obviously at higher altitudes, if you're maintaining your same velocity, the air would be moving faster as you get higher. So at that point,
you had to hover sideways almost constantly in order to stay above the same ground, according to those principles.
So shout out to Rob L for smashing the super chat and me not noticing. He says, not missing Spurs. Big smiley face. Fair enough. Also another shout out. Oh, thank you again to The Shape of My World XIII. He says, Sir Nathan Oakley, man, you're making me blush, smashing the globe since 2015. Indeed. Thank you very much for the super
Someone
chat.
in Discord might have a question. His name is John, but it looks like PHU.
Yeah,
Feel free.
I have a
Go.
question. I'm actually a long time.
Hold on, you're low, man. You got to turn up the volume.
Your mic up.
Okay then.
Good question.
I think maybe next Tuesday sometime. Hope that answers your question.
Sorry, I can't get my mic to work.
That's better.
I'll
You're
try
good.
some of it.
That's okay.
We hear you. We hear you.
You're louder. Go ahead.
John, you can speak up now. We can hear you.
I think there might be an explanation.
Alrighty then.
A clown show.
Just give him a chance.
Think
No,
you did
Nero.
something different.
Oh, now you're quiet again. You did something. What you
Oh,
do?
not that, John.
Okay, well, while this is going on, shout out to MC Universe, Sacred Truth Keeper, who says, according to ball tards, the air moves with the earth most of the time, but once in a while.
Yeah, because it's
it
Velcro.
slips. Thanks for the super chat, MC Universe.
This morning, I seen the clouds go towards the sun against the spin of the earth.
Amazing.
That was interesting.
Yeah, it's just stationary, nothing's spinning, nothing's moving.
You know
There is
what
no
the ballers
progress.
are.
Sorry,
Did you
Babs, go
take
on.
any
What the ballers are
medication
gonna
before
say
you
about
went on
having
that plane?
different tangential winds.
Say again, Babs, start again.
You know what the ballers are going to say about why we have different tangential winds, even though the Earth is moving in absolute direction? They're just going to say it's because of pressure systems in the atmosphere.
Yeah, we know why we have multiple
I
directions
feel
of
like
surface
wasn't what I
winds.
was
they're gonna rig that of it.
That's called a red herring, though. So, who cares? George tried that on me. My response was to swear at him and say, what the hell does that have to do with multiple surface winds debunking the idea that it's all travelling in one direction with the Earth spin? It doesn't. It's just a red herring. So describing how we have multiple surface winds is just describing how we have multiple surface winds. It's describing how they debunk his assertion that they're all travelling with the Earth spin. But it doesn't address it in any way, shape or form.
I don't.
But Nathan, he hand-waved dismissed it. What's the problem?
He hand-waved it and gave a straw man. Not a straw man, a red herring.
John might be sorted out now. Try again, John. Okay, never mind. Like, we hear him sometimes, and then his mic goes bad again, so...
That's okay. These things used to frustrate me greatly. Now I just roll with it. If there's a bit of dead air while someone's trying to sort out our mic, so be it.
Well, I can take him an after show, and I can test the mic with him over there.
Okay. If you're good with that.
So you guys can continue.
Check out the service on this Discord server. Shout out to the mods and what do you call the channel master of the Discord server? Owner. Shout out to the owner of Science vs. Pseudoscience. What a marvelously run Discord server it is. Even if you're not going to join the show, join that Discord server. It's ace. It's not mine. Nothing to do with me. I just get to use it, but it's glorious. And there's people like Righteous Force who will do things like that. Awesome. Awesome. Wouldn't get that kind of service out of me.
Yeah, so the question that
Go ahead.
question that Kosho needs to answer now is, why do planes and helicopters maintain tangential velocity, but bullets don't? That's what he's going to have to answer.
Because the
Because
Earth
the
is not
people
spinning.
with bullets are full of shit. People that claim that. It's very simple.
Arwen's already summed it up. You've either got it or you haven't. If you've got Coriolis effect, then Neil deGrasse Tyson's correct. The ball deviates because the Earth rotates underneath the ball. And if it's rotating underneath a ball, it's rotating underneath a helicopter, rotating under a bullet, rotating under a drone, rotating under an aeroplane, rotating under you if you jump up and down. It's rotating underneath if it's spinning. That's what Coriolis is. This whole argument for Earth travelling with the atmosphere is a defiance of Coriolis. They're arguing against Coriolis. Here's why we don't see deviation. Here's why Earth doesn't rotate underneath, because it's travelling with the spinning ball Earth, of course. Here's why we don't have Coriolis. That's what they're saying. Just point that out to them. So Earth travels with the atmosphere. That doesn't give you a Coriolis effect, though, does it?
It gives them
Can I say
Coriolis
something?
without the Coriolis.
Don't they introduce another red herring by saying you got to have powered flight?
Yeah, I've already sorted that out for anybody who needs an example. You've got a powered drone in your hand on a roundabout, analogous to a spinning ball Earth with the same exact drone. Now on the roundabout, you're going to hold that drone in your right hand on the outside edge of that spinning roundabout, which is only going slowly, a couple of rotations every minute, very, very slowly. And you hold your hand out and push the up stick on your remote control, and then let go. And for this example, it's just going to hover in the same position. Powered flight. Does it change the fact that you're rotating away from it on a roundabout? No, that's what Coriolis effect is. You see it looking like it's flying towards you, and then flying away from you, and then flying towards you, and flying away from you. Now, it's not flying towards you and flying away from you. It's remaining in the same position, in its powered flight. But from your position, because you rotate underneath, you have your apparent deflection, the Coriolis effect. You observe the Coriolis effect because you rotate underneath. So if they're claiming that the Earth and atmosphere travel as one, then you're not rotating underneath. No Coriolis effect. So this powered flight bullshit is debunked by the necessary ingredients for Coriolis effect. 2 reference frames. To have the effect known as Coriolis, you must have your powered flight with drone on roundabout hover, not come towards you and go away from you, but appear to fly towards you and away from you because you rotate underneath. So to have Earth-based Coriolis effect, you must rotate underneath. That's what gives you the effect. And if they're fighting for the two things flying along in unison, Earth and atmosphere as one reference frame, then the Earth isn't rotating underneath. And that's what you need to have Coriolis. Earth rotating underneath. Neil deGrasse Tyson, in his nonsense doublespeak with the ball and short hang time bullet, whatever example he may make, that would be exaggerated with powered flight. The drone, unlike a ball, can stay up for as long as the battery lasts. The drone can stay powered flight for as long as you rotate underneath it. And so long as it's staying in its position and you're rotating underneath, you'll see Coriolis effect. It keeps seeming like it's coming closer and getting further away. It's flying towards me, right? No, it's not moving towards you. It's staying in the same position. But because you're rotating underneath it, you see Coriolis effect. So next time they say, Earth and atmosphere travel as one, it's all being carried along together. Well, then you're not rotating underneath it then, are you? So you're arguing that we don't have Coriolis? Fundy globehead double speaker.
I've got a good point. You know, we're actually moving at the same speed the sun is moving across the sky. When you see the sun come...
No, we're not moving a smegging inch.
We're not
claims to be a flat earther,
Dallas.
this guy. Just literally, David
kidding?
Dallas is not a flat earther. He's just claimed that we're moving at the same rate the sun is moving.
Yeah, you really
That
just
was
played
not a
yourself,
good
bro.
point, David. That was
At
Not a
definitely
good
not a
point.
good
Might as
You
well
call
start
yourself
by
a flat
saying...
earther? You really just said that, man?
When
Come
he,
on.
when, next
Double
says,
D.
when he next says, I've got a good point, what you should all, as an audience here, is I've got the most shilly, globe-positive, claim to be flat earth point you'll ever hear. That's what he should say.
No, but I mean, the sun moving across the sky is how fast the Earth is moving.
I've got something really just shilly to
Oh,
say. We've got
say it
gravity.
again.
Oh,
Good.
snap, he did it again.
That's what they tell you. You're not seeing the sun move across the sky. You're the one that's spinning.
Yeah, I am. I'm watching the sun move across the sky. I watch it quite frequently. That again is a nonsense assertion.
I have something to add to this.
That's how fast the
Hey,
Earth is
Ranty.
spinning, right?
Hold on, we're joined by Ranty.
Hiya.
Hey, Ranty.
Hiya. I have something to add,
Ranty?
if that's all right. I haven't got long though, so can I just get it out and say it?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
Okay, so recently they said that the moon is in the Earth's atmosphere. Yeah. So essentially, the moon being in the Earth's atmosphere is an object moving Coriolis. No.
No, Coriolis is an apparent deviation caused by you rotating underneath something.
Yeah, but they say it's an orbit.
They beg the question of orbits, yeah. So?
You know, find that
and
interesting.
we're in orbit.
That's
Right, but that's an actual movement as opposed to an apparent deviation. Do you see what I
but
mean?
then you see the sun doing it too, which isn't in our orbit.
We don't know what the sun is. I don't know that it's
Yes,
what it's
I'm
doing.
begging the question for them. So you've got the sun that's not in our atmosphere, and you have the moon that's in our atmosphere. Both are orbiting, but they're both orbiting.
Exactly.
Doesn't match their model, does it?
Exactly. That made very little sense, Ranty. But apparently David Dallas thinks that was beautiful.
Well, Double D's at the orbit bar where Russians don't exist, getting half-price drinks.
I honestly still don't understand your point, Ranty. I really don't. Apparent deviation means it's not actually moving, like my drone when you're on the roundabout. It's not actually moving at all. Whereas the sun appears to be moving. But I don't know what it is or what's happening. So I'm not going to attribute any sort of apparent deviation to an apparent sun. That's just a step too far.
Okay, maybe it's a malformed way of actually saying it. I'll probably need to think about how I
There's something in there
in the future, but
Fair
it
enough.
is something that
Fair
just
enough.
crops up in my head. So just bear with me on that.
Fair enough.
Well, Coriolis should be
No, I bet at some
physical as
point.
well as light things should be.
I just think we should
principle
point out that we've all got
subjective.
something to bring to this conversation, and the thing that Ranty should bring is silence.
I'm on mute.
Maybe. All right.
You know, I bet you sooner or later somebody's gonna try to come out and debunk the fact that a drone is powered flight, because we've already heard the opposite argument.
Glider.
Brenda was already on here arguing that a glider is powered flight. So I'm sure it's just enough time will go by where somebody will come on and say, "Oh, Nathan was talking about a drone, and that's not powered flight," even though it's got a little engine and mechanics and all that. But nah, because a glider is a powered flight. Thanks, Brenda. Shout out to Brenda. Shout out Retract.
You can't shout her out and retract your own. Or maybe you can.
Self retraction, man.
Self-retraction. In the same breath, though. It's a bit much.
Don't forget, the shoe is a natural phenomenon.
Indeed. So, Ranty, you've got some shows going out over the weekend. This show will go out on Saturday for the majority of people. Is there anything you wanted to plug?
Yeah, I can do. We have Glean coming on this evening. So he's going to be doing a presentation. Essentially, he's going to be rocking the boat with people like Conspiracy Cat, Simon Dan, Bob the Science Guy, George Netanyahu. He's basically going to go after everyone. I haven't seen the presentation yet because he's going to do it on the fly. So it's only what I've been told. So hang on to your hats for whatever he produces tonight. So that'll be at 10 p.m. BST. That's London time.
Hold on, just one sec. I just add to that. So if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, that was yesterday, Friday. Obviously today being Saturday for you. And what else you got?
And then after that, we're going to have a little chit-chat show where he wants to debate the Globers. So he's going to make his presentation, then he's going to open the panel up. So if any of these people fancy joining, they can do, and challenge him on his presentation that he's just done. So that'll probably be around about 11 p.m. tonight at London time. And then tomorrow, I've got George Netanyahu on again. He's going to be doing something on reference frames.
Just one sec before you plug George. Hold on, just before you plug George. So,
oh my God, not again.
Hold on. So the one you just gave before George, what can you just say that one again, just briefly?
Okay, so there's a chit-chat show going after Gleam tonight. So Gleam's going to do a presentation.
No, that's all I need.
what we want
That's
to
all I
go.
need. So the Chit Chat Show, again, if you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980, the Chit Chat Show is starting in 5 minutes' time. No, well, 4 minutes' time over on Ranty Flat Earth. So don't get me wrong, obviously I'd love to retain you as an audience, but Ranty's got a live show going. So check out Ranty's show. It's starting in 5 minutes for those of you watching on Nathan Oakley 1980. If it's total garbage, which I absolutely expect it will be, then come back. But yeah, go and check it out. Okay, and then on Sunday, which is what you got on Sunday?
So nothing on Sunday, but on Saturday we have obviously George Netanyahu. He's going to be doing a presentation too on reference frames. That'll be 10 p.m. BST London time. And after that, again, he wants to open the panel open for the people to come in and challenge him on the topic of reference frames.
Wait.
Specifically,
Who's
related to
doing
the
a
Coriolis.
presentation on reference frames, Ranty?
Sorry?
Who's doing
Say
a
again.
presentation on reference frames?
That would be the George Netanyahu. You may know him.
Oh, the pontiff.
Hold on, Chocolate, but just before you do it, hold on. Yeah, it's fair enough when it's off topic, right? It's plugging a show. Don't poison the well. We've done it enough already. He's plugging that show. Let him plug it. It's actually going to go out now.
No, I actually genuinely didn't hear who he said. So.
Yeah, George Netanyahu is doing a presentation on reference frames. Go and check it out. It's on Ranty Flat Earth channel. That's actually the show that's going out for those of you watching this on Nathan Oakley, as I was slightly wrong with that. But I'm glad we've cleared it up. So about now-ish, hooray, go and watch George. Yeah, I'm really pleased that I made sure that was plugged well.
But yeah, this will be essentially the globe response to the Coriolis and why reference frames and Coriolis can work in the globe model. So seeing as he's talking about Coriolis right now, it's just getting an insight into why the globers believe what they believe and what evidence they can bring to show that.
I can't wait.
Okay, so that's that, and then as I say, after that there'll be a chit chat show again where George is opening the panel up to debate him on it. So if anyone feels like they want to jump in and challenge him on that, he's willing to take on all comers.
Have you heard from Chemo?
As far as I know, Chemo's working on his show, so he'll be doing his own show soon.
Okay.
Ranty, where's my video?
What video?
The one you're supposed to send me.
I'm keeping it wrapped up. I don't want the drama.
So you said you're going to send it to me, and now you're not going to send it.
Yeah, I'm backing out.
A little Indian giving, huh?
You can send it to me. I didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
You didn't give it yet.
If you missed it live, you missed it live. What can I say? It was, well, I'm sure Nathan can probably clarify it better than me.
That's horseshit.
It wasn't that great. It's not all that. It doesn't matter.
You built it up, and
I
then
missed
you
the
let
shaving. I wanted to witness that for myself.
Man.
I just think this is a marketing ploy. Ranty's building it up and then it's just going to chunk it out. Chunk it out for the ad revenue.
It was brutal. That's all I'm going to say. It was brutal. I do actually think, though, that Nathan, you said you watched a video today that apparently somebody had recorded it. I don't know where people would find that.
No, I was moaning. I don't plug that. I was moaning about that. People who just chunk out your material. I was like, so yeah, someone's just basically nicked your stuff. That's what I was pointing out to you. But there we go. Don't plug it. Don't steal people's stuff. You know, don't get me wrong. If you want to comment, it's all in the guidelines for making videos on YouTube. Don't steal other people's stuff. It's that simple. Just taking a great big chunk of Ranty's show and sticking it out. It's bloody outrage. At least I think so. But I'm a producer and I put a lot of time and effort into producing. People who just happen to be watching, oh, I've got a recording app on my phone. I'll just record this and then I'll publish it because I made this. No, you didn't, dick. Anyway, enough of my moaning.
Oh, speaking of which, I've seen your subscriber jump 20 subscribers overnight.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
Which means you're like 50 short of 15,000. 50, just 50. You've been hovering at that for so long, though.
I share your show a lot on Discord too. So that could be
Yeah,
it.
I say it every
That's
show.
the
Or just one thing.
That's the problem. Nathan's been hovering over that. He needs to have powered flight.
Do you know how long I've been in powered flight at that point? I've been in powered flight at 14,900 and something for about 8 months. And I remember Tom... I'm not kidding. So around about the time... I think it was sort of around that time, I also went on Globebusters, which definitely didn't do my subscriber count any favours whatsoever. Needs must as the devil drives. Anyway, so you've got a halt being drawn to my subscriber growth, and then... As Ranty points out, I woke up this morning, I was like, I wonder, check on his subscribers, as you do. YouTubers are probably familiar with what I'm describing. You know, you go, has my subscriber count changed? Ooh, 20 more subscribers. That's unusual, given that I've pretty much been static for the last probably 7 or 8 months. But yeah, I don't know why. It means someone's made me an advert.
But it means also that if anybody isn't subscribed right now, just click that button, subscribe. Get him over 15,000. That's what he needs. But bear in mind, Bob the Science Guy probably was contributory towards that, you know, because he did a video about his housekeeping questions, the ones that are supposed to be a counter to your housekeeping questions. So that was probably it.
Oh, well, thank you very much for the advert, Bob the Science Guy. Oh, isn't that kind?
Bob the pseudoscience fallacy guy.
That's the one.
He actually references Quantum Eraser in there, and yourself, and Sleeping Warrior.
Who cares?
He even mentioned
He's
Darwin.
a retard.
He even mentions Arwin. He says that he's going to get an Arwin-esque type person, because he's thinking of doing a globe Earth debate. I think it was just about tongue-in-cheek, but he said he'll get his own Darwin.
I'm really flattered. I'm really flattered. It's nice to have fans, you know. I mean, obviously, I'd like to extend the same sentiment to Bob the Science Guy, but I literally don't ever think about him ever or give him any consideration.
Is he looking for a partnership with me?
Nice to have a fan, though.
Mr. Cygnus Octaris. What a friggin' clown that guy is. He got his ass handed to him on this show like 3 or 4. He got what? How many toe tags he got?
I've chunked out a couple of bits, but only from one video. He's been on twice. I'd say at least 2.
I have a totally unrelated question to anything, but Nathan, do you have a slow mode on in your chat? Because that's weird.
Yeah, I've got it on 3 seconds. It's just to stop people from repeatedly spamming over and over again.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hey, John.
That's new to me.
Yes.
Somebody in Discord has a question for you. I don't know if you want to hear it. Well, I guess you do. He's asking if particles have a spin and velocity.
I already answered him.
What was the answer?
Go to Quantum Eraser questions and then scroll down to the bottom, and there's the answer.
Okay, thanks.
I don't know the answer to that.
He can read it out loud.
What, you want me to do it? Oh, great.
You can read it out loud if you want.
You want to read it? Righteous Force, no pressure.
Okay, Quantum Eraser answers all the way to the bottom.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I think I answered in the question component. That thing's going by the wayside, man. There's bigger fish to fry.
Is it one that links? Oh, yeah. Okay, links to Scientific America, right?
You could read it. Read my first statement.
Okay. You say not a knuckleball, and good luck figuring out that direction. Is that it?
Yeah, and there's a good article below. Did you guys catch that?
No.
You didn't catch that? Go ahead and read the question again and then the answer right behind it real quick, because people lack focus.
Do particles in motion have a spin as well as directionality? And your answer was not a knuckleball, and good luck figuring out the direction.
You get it now?
Nope.
Apparently, you're not a golfer.
Absolutely, I am not.
I get it. I get it.
No fancy pants for Arwen.
Hold on. Go on, Paul.
If it's got rotation, it's going to kind of like a golf ball. It's either going to rise or fall or spin to the left or spin to the right, depending on its rotation. But it's also going to have direction as well. Right? Am I right, John? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying a knuckleball doesn't have spin, and good luck figuring out the direction of that damn thing.
Oh, okay. I'm wrong direction. I get it. Yeah. Okay.
See?
That's baseball.
You ever try to hit
analogy.
You ever try to hit a good knuckleball?
Yeah, it's hard. Very hard.
That thing bounces. It goes every which way, man. Who was a good knuckleball pitcher? Oh, there was one for the Pirates back in the day, but I think he went to Boston. Tim, was his first name Tim?
You're killing me. You're absolutely killing me.
Why?
Not only do I not understand this sport, or how it works, or what a knuckleball is, I have no idea how the analogy compares to the question, or what the answer is.
Oh my God, man. You don't know what baseball is?
I don't care. I want to know about the spin and direction of particles.
Well, friggin' baseball's a particle.
The analogy's wonderful. I love baseball. USA
you know
is
what?
A-OK. Now,
I can't
what's
hear
the
you.
I've got a
answer?
better
Right
analogy
now,
for him, actually.
I want some input on this. Okay, I can actually turn this to our benefit because all of these sports all deal with balls and firing them off, launching them into some kind of trajectory. And I'll bet you none of them take Coriolis into account.
It's much like a
Right.
European football.
Thanks.
It's much like European football, where we call soccer here, where
Right.
if the forward kicks the ball, but it doesn't have spin on
Nathan,
it.
it's killing him.
It is killing me.
Yeah. Thanks for red herring
Keep going,
my
Tent.
attempt to restore the
Give Tent the
point.
mic. Go ahead,
Oh,
Tent.
you said
Arwin's obviously on some seriously strong acid, where he's on a timeline from a conversation 15 minutes ago.
Well, we all have our roles, and some people, their roles is to stay on mute.
I had that gag with Ranty earlier.
I lost it. Shout out to Ranty.
So what's the
Shout
answer
out,
to the
Richard.
question then? So I'm thinking no, but I don't really know.
If Lily can be quiet for a second, I can give you another analogy that'll work just as well
Just
without
give me a
baseball.
yes or no. Do they or don't they?
Oh boy.
it depends how it's thrown.
About particles. We're talking about particles. We're not talking about any of the analogies anymore. Half the audience has lost track of what we've even started talking about now.
Yeah, that was my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
Talking about the Coriolis
That was
effect.
my answer. That was the best answer ever. I think we should trim that out. It was so concise.
I think
It was
QE's
concise,
throwing
wasn't
you a curveball.
The 10th man's deliberately obfuscating with more sports analogies.
Dude, I used to
Let me
be
try-
a pitcher, man. Hey, I got to plug myself, man. Back in the day, I was a pitcher, right? And I had really, really long hair. It was back in the 70s. But anyway, I was pitching in Legion baseball. I think I was 18 or 19. And we were playing Riverside. And I had this curveball. I always love curveballs, right? But this day, this thing was breaking like 3 feet. It was like in fuego, man. I was in the zone. I pitched a 14 strikeout no hitter. They couldn't hit that damn curveball, man. Damn, Roberto Clemente couldn't hit that curveball that day.
Oh my god. Shout out to The Shape of My World. He says,
Nathan right now was like, huh? What the hell's going
And,
on?
need me to
and wait a
interrupt you,
second, that
Nathan?
day's not over yet.
You
oh
need
on a
me to
second.
interrupt
god,
you, Nathan?
please, somebody shoot me in the face.
Come on, man. This is memories
No,
and stuff. Come on,
This
dude.
is good. This is good. John is saying that the tangential speed of the Earth and his curveball were in one reference frame. This is awesome.
Right. You're getting shout outs whether you like it or not. Shout out to Shape of My World XIII, who says, slam dunk, stay flat, people, and then fire. Thank you very much for the super chat. Again, Shape of My World XIII. And then Swamp Boy 34 says, entertain the good book and listen to the other side. The true, I think it means truth, will set you free, but you will first be horrified. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Swamp Boy 34. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Thanks for rumpusing me.
Shouting out super chats.
Jeez, throwing my whole story.
Well, I did deliberately rumpus that. Yes. It was killing me.
I know you did.
It was physically causing pain.
Hey, the story wasn't over yet.
Somebody bring Riley in here and let's talk
Here
about
we go,
cars.
getting rumpused again by Arwen. I'm sure
Feel free, rumpus away. Yeah, unless you're going to answer the guy's question, right? So the guy was asking
Nathan,
about
how's your car?
The spin of
He's got a
particles.
follow-up question.
And yeah, we're never going to get a concise answer, and it's just killing me.
I think it's too late for that.
I'll give him the answer. Maybe.
You know, it's Friday, so this is going to be a fun episode.
I'll give it to him next Sunday, 2 weeks from now.
Technically Saturday for the main audience.
Yeah, I'll give it to him next Sunday, 2 weeks from now.
There are ball busters tomorrow.
There will be a Ball Busters, but it won't be a live Ball Busters. So yes, be here or be sphere on the Quantum Eraser channel. 8 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, Ball Busters, Quantum Eraser, the new home of Ball Busters. So be sure to subscribe to Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. And the following Saturday. So again, this is after the fact anyway for those of you watching on Nathan Oakley 1980. But Ball Busters has just gone out. I think it's Ball Busters 3. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's correct, and I'll send it out here in another couple hours or so. I'll send out the premiere.
Cool. So yeah, Ball Busters that'll be 8 p.m. UK time Saturday. Just gone if you're watching on the premiering stream. But yeah, next Saturday, same principle applies. It'll be 8 p.m. next Saturday. So if you are watching on Saturday on the premiering stream, a week from today, there'll be a live Ball Busters on Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. So definitely be here or be sphere. Subscribe today.
And tomorrow's episode is This Is Science. And how did you like yesterday's episode? I found that. Hey, where's Anon at? You know when he denied being there?
He's not here at the minute.
Honestly, I forgot how fun that episode was. That was a good one.
I don't remember that, QE. I wasn't there. I don't remember it. Yeah.
It was good.
It was good.
You remember now?
I do remember, and I remember you trying to find it quite a while back, where you're like, "Look, I took quite a long time. It was more than an hour to go through the sort of history of the experimentation and phenomena of light." And they kept on asking you about what your natural phenomena was. You were saying it till you were red in the face. Diffraction. They're just not listening. After the hour, they're like, "Yeah, I get it, diffraction, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking about the life-size experiment that's not been done." And you're like, "We're not at the experiment stage. You were asking me for the natural phenomena that was observed. I've said it till I'm blue in the face. Now that you finally listened, you're saying that's not what you're asking." You know, I felt the frustration then. I felt it when I was watching back.
It's something. And then they say, "Oh, look, he's getting triggered." I mean, what in the world, people, right? You know, John, you're raising your voice. That must mean something. Let's reify that into something. Oh boy, that must mean you're hiding something. You're triggered. What's up with that?
Total nonsense. But with that, I will say, if you are watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980 on Saturday, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching live on Nathan Oakley, actually there will be another live show on this stream, so stay tuned on Nathan Oakley as well for a change, as there will be another live show to follow. A massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this live show possible. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Something weird.
What's
I
weird?
seem to have like a sort of almost strike on my early bird 280. Limited monetization because of inappropriate language.
Oh, is that only the first time you've had that? Okay.
It's the first time I'm seeing it.
Got another super chat. Thanks for the show.
I think
sir,
it was
shaping
the
my world.
episode where I was basically talking about fags a lot. They didn't like that.
Alrighty then.
You talking about cigarettes?
Well,
what I
I
was
was using it in the non-homosexual reference, and then basically very angrily calling certain individuals fags.
Yeah, speaking of that, going back and looking through
You're calling people
videos,
cigarettes?
I had to go through like 200 and so videos just to find one thing on Arwen's channel. I finally found it, Arwen.
You did?
Yeah, what I was looking for. Jeez, oh man, you guys need to title these damn things. I spent
Hey, if you
hours.
paid attention, I am these days. So
Really?
Were you looking for bird landing?
No, I wasn't. But where is that?
That would be a good one to find, dude.
It was.
That's a good one.
It was shortly
Bird
after
landing.
Nathan had the problems, so it was like January maybe.
Yeah, what episode though?
So
It was
earlier this
January.
year.
what? Where? What? Where? Who?
Yeah, on your channel, the Birds Landing. When Nathan came on your show, and the guy said, "Yeah, Birds Landing."
Okay. Well, I've had Nathan on several times. It's pretty early on, though.
How much is several?
I think twice or three times.
Yeah, can you find those?
I'll look. I think I titled him. But that was a long whoa.
Should be after Christmas, before New Year, somewhere around there.
What? Oh my god. My second early bird about the whole Christchurch thing has now also been removed, apparently.
Oh, that's a red herring diversion. We need that video, Birds Landing.
Well, I could search on bird, but I don't think that'll do a lot of good. If you know what I mean.
And what's up with everyone having a problem with this Coriolis effect? What's up with that?
How do you mean? What's the
It's on
problem?
purpose.
Yeah, it's on purpose. You think it's on purpose? So
Yes.
You don't think this is a Hanlon's razor motif?
No, it's
You don't think-
purposeful confusion because they know they can't win, they can feel it, so they just confuse themselves to try and bypass it.
What's
Nah,
Hamlin's
I think-
razor? Remind me.
What's that?
What's
I didn't hear
Hamlin's
you.
razor? Remind me.
Oh, don't attribute to malice what can be explained by pure ignorance.
Right. That's what I do to David Dallas.
But it's not necessarily malice. It's a subconscious decision kind of thing. It's a subconscious realization, and it's kept out of the loop of cognitive awareness. So it's a
These
feeling thing.
people aren't smart enough, man. This is pure ignorance.
No,
I
but they're
mean, the
abusing their own
Coriolis is easy.
intelligence. They're
God,
compartmentalizing
getting rumpused
themselves to
again.
keep them ignorant.
Now, what is so hard about the Coriolis effect? It's so simple, right? And another thing, I'm getting flambasted of people. Guess what they're saying? They're saying because of the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile, they're saying quantum eraser. You don't even know that the Evolved Sea Sparrow is a SAM. It's shoots down airplanes. You can't. Unbelievable. I've got about 50 messages in the past 3 days regarding that.
Hey, I found one, by the way.
Hold on.
It's number 55.
I don't understand.
55.
I don't understand. It's a surface to surface.
It's both. It's a surface to air and surface to surface. It's both.
I appreciate. No, that's kind of what I'm saying. Yes, I appreciate they're shooting down planes with it. Yes, that's obvious in their rebuttal. But it's also I should have said also. It's also surface to surface is what I should have said.
Yes. Yes. And its main target. What is its main target? Can anyone remember? I think I mentioned it a couple times.
The other ships.
Nope.
Skiffs.
What?
Skiffs.
What are skiffs?
The smaller boats.
Nope.
Nope.
You guys that's what I'm saying. You guys don't listen. You guys just don't listen. I popped it in there a couple times. It's really important.
Go on, you have to remind us, I'm sorry.
Sea skimmers.
Sea skimmers?
Yeah.
Skiffs.
That's skiffs.
No, that's not a skiff. A sea skimmer is a missile that travels and flies like 10 to 30 feet above the sea, right? So it can be basically treated.
They're targeting. How much of it is visible? Tiny bit.
10 to 30 feet. So you could treat those missiles as essentially surface targets because they're only 10 to 30 feet above sea level. They fly in low. That's its main target. Not its only target, but one of its main targets.
They're pretty quick, right? They're targeting that with a pencil beam.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Oh, and another thing, they're saying, QE, what is it? Is it a radar? Or is it a laser? Well, it's a target illumination radar.
That's a laser, though.
Yeah, it's
so it uses radio frequency, right?
Go ahead and answer, QE.
Yeah, you said it uses radio frequency.
Yeah, it's a 2-inch RF pencil beam. Yes, from a target illumination radar. Yeah,
it's not a laser.
So, yeah, it's similar to a laser, but sending RF.
But I would say refraction would have nothing to do or can't affect it at all, right? I would assume.
No, because it's RF. It's inverse. The refraction is inverse to the wavelength. Look up refraction and look at different wavelengths. Now, don't get all hyped up about, it's a wave. I'm just using the convention wavelength, okay?
Just want to point that out. So that's not saying you're long in the tooth or anything, QE, but that's your automatic understanding that people are going to go, he said the word wave.
Yeah, that's right. I'm prepared for it, dude. Yeah, I got it. I got to put that caveat out there. Oh, he said wave. It must be a wave. He said wavelength. It must be a wave. Right?
I explained that to my wife yesterday. So it took me about 2 minutes. She just listened and understood at the end of it. It was really simple to explain how probability distribution is formed and how that could be described mathematically as a wave, otherwise known as a wave function. Well, upon explaining that to her, she instantaneously understood that it wasn't a wave.
How long did it take you?
It took me about 2 minutes to explain it to her, and she was very tired.
Anon, we've been asking that question to Anon. I'm sorry, Anon. I know you're not here. I'm not going to drag you through the mud too much. It's been about 4 or 5 months, hasn't it, since that question's been on the table?
Isn't this a basic semantic misunderstanding? Because it's a frequency, so it's not really a wave, it's a wavelength.
Yeah, wave function,
It's
precisely.
of the frequency. It's not literal geometrical wave. It's another thing.
No, it's a probability distribution or wave function. So the misunderstanding is the lobbing off of the actual descriptive term mathematically that's being used. Wave function is not wave. A wave is like you get in the sea. A wave function is a mathematical probability distribution as opposed to a physical wave.
That was not what I was talking about. We're talking about wavelength of light.
Yeah,
not
that's
the,
what I'm.
the wave
That's where this
function
is.
of that thing.
That's what we set. Careful, Arwin. That's what we set Anon to task on. Where do they derive wavelength?
How? How did they derive wavelength? Come on, I went over
From the
this
color
in that
spectrum.
presentation.
From the prismatic
Oh,
color
God.
spectrum.
The color spectrum. Yeah, but no. How do they the mathematical description of it as a wavelength for each individual light in that color spectrum? Where do you get that mathematical descriptive terminology for wavelength? Where do you get that from? Where's that been derived from? How have they come to that?
From light splitting up in a prism and then dividing itself from in the rainbow color spectrum. And on one hand, it is presumed that is one side of the spectrum of it, and on the other side, on the other. And so it is assumed as a frequency.
At a fundamental level,
Light
you're wrong.
frequency.
But you've thrown this bloody word rainbows. Now, I think this was even discussed yesterday on that show. So backscattering could be a form of diffraction. But other than that, no, you're wrong. That's not how they've come to the gathering of the information in the first instance, which is the diffraction.
Yeah, if they're using monochromatic light, you don't want to do it with a rainbow, man, or many different colors.
I wasn't talking about the double slit experiment. Just
we are
wavelength of light.
We are.
We're not talking about the double slit anyway. We're talking. We'll give the answer away.
Yeah, that's okay. Just tell him this is Arwin. It's not a non.
Yeah, but a non will hear it.
That's okay.
Oh, God.
So we're talking about single slit diffraction. I mean, yes, this will lead on to double slit experiment, but this isn't where we're at now in terms of the. This was just exactly what was talked about yesterday, just with Arwin substituted for a non. Weird. Okay, fine.
I'm not telling him.
Why not?
I refuse.
Because he's a gatekeeper.
He's a gatekeeper. You've been hanging out with PJ.
Well, no, it's actually what that act
I'm
you're
the
doing
keymaster.
is. No, I'm just being literal. That's what you're doing, keeping secrets.
I'm not keeping secrets. I put it out in a
really?
presentation.
So what it is then? What is
that's
it then,
fair
what
enough.
you're doing?
If that's how you
But he's
want to play it.
already
No,
said
that's fine. So in this video on, it's not live, is it? No, only in Nathan Oakley 1980. In the info box underneath this video, there's Quantum Eraser, and I've forgotten the title. Give me just 10 seconds. I'm going to go actually look until I can get the title right. It's called.
It's on Quantum Eraser channel 2 under each video in the information box.
Yeah, but I want to know the one that it's called. It's called. I think it's Light as a Particle. Is that correct?
No, it's quantum physics, and let's just go get it. I think it's quantum physics and the delayed choice quantum eraser explained, if I'm not mistaken.
Ah, got it, yes. It's called Science versus Scientism, Quantum Mechanics, Double Slit, and Quantum Eraser Explained. Now, so that I don't give the game away either, if you want to check out which point it is, I can't give you an exact timestamp, but at some point during that presentation, John puts up single slit diffraction, a picture of what I'll try and butcher and describe verbally. So you've got a really intense bar in the middle, and then left and right of it, you've got a slightly less intense bar, and then left and right of that, you've got a slightly less intense bar again, and it fades out, going further and further to the edges. So the most intense bar in the middle, less and less intense towards the edges. That's essentially single slit diffraction, and it's a picture of that on screen. After that, immediately after that, there's a table with all of the wavelengths written on it, just so you can scrub through and find it. That's the only reason I'm describing this. And in that section is a very concise explanation of how wavelengths came to be. There you go. I've not given the game away, have I, QE?
No, and it's not just single slit diffraction. It's single, double, triple, quadruple.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Just so that when they're scrubbing through and what they're looking for on screen to find it, because I don't know the timestamp. That's why I've described it that way, just so that it's easy to find when they scrub through in that video, which is Science versus Scientism, Quantum Mechanics, Double Slit, and Quantum Eraser Explained. Yes, there's lots more detail on other things, but in this specific regard, we're talking about wavelengths. So that's where that information is.
Do I have to go get the timestamp?
Can do. That'd be really useful, because the amount of times it comes up and I have to go through some crappy verbal explanation of where it is, because I can't be asked to go and check myself.
Yeah. All right, give me a minute.
All right, I found Kiwi's bird landing.
No way.
Well, I found it under your video because I noticed you mirrored it, and then you got Arwen's full video in your description, so I'll post that on Skype.
That's
So,
good. I don't know if QE.
I kind
I'll
of
remind
remember
him
the name of
because
it.
he's just said he spent hours. Did you hear
No,
that?
that's not mine. It's your video, Nathan. He said it to you. I wasn't there.
What are you talking about now? Sorry, I'm lost.
He's a science member. He was a
The
science
bird
major
landing
or
video.
something. Oh, wait a second. QE. Somebody said QE and Chocolate wanted to chime in. Go ahead, QE. Go ahead.
Are we tracking Sally? Are we tracking Sally?
Well, the point is, I found your video, and it's in Master B. So it's called Undergraduate Physicist and Gravity Pseudoscience.
Yeah, that's it. That's you, Nathan.
I still don't understand what's being talked about. I thought you were looking for Arwen and Supernatural Bird's Nest on his channel. Now you're saying
Yeah,
that's
but you
Nathan.
mirrored and cut out the part from his show.
No.
So the full video.
You're getting confused. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Totally
These
confused.
are two different things. Hold on. You got the Supernatural Bird's Nest from Anon. That's one thing. But the Bird's Nest is another thing. That came from Arwen and you on Arwen's show. And it was the undergraduate physics student. You said, well, what's the observed phenomenon? You kept on asking him, and it finally boiled down to Bird's Landing. Got it?
I do now
Which
vaguely
is not
remember
the
what you're
birds
talking about.
humping, which is Gem Panda.
Don't throw that in. So you got Supernatural Bird's Nest, which is something totally unrelated. In this instance, you've got an undergraduate who's talking about a natural phenomena, and when it got boiled down, he said, "Well, I could have birds landing as a natural phenomena." Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Gotcha. Now I do know what you're talking about. Okay, all is now clear.
It was hilarious. You had him over the barrel with gravity, and you finally got him down to, and he said, "Bird's Landing." That was a running joke for a while, man. That was a really good time. I enjoyed it. Where's that posted at?
In Master B. Thank you very much, Righteous Force. Spot on.
No problem.
All right. I'm looking.
Yeah, that was on Arwen's show. So, yeah, those are golden moments, but there's plenty of them on Arwen's early bird show. So, subscribe to ARWIJN, and that's Arwen. And he has the early bird show, which runs daily before the debate goes out. So, at 1 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Amsterdam time, early bird. Be here or be sphere. He's here. Why am I plugging you, Arwen? You're still here. You plug you.
You plug you.
I thought he wasn't here.
We got a lot of birds here. We got Arwen's early bird. We got a non-supernatural bird's nest. We got that graduate student's bird landing, and then the other guy takes it in birds humping.
Gem Panda.
Yeah. Gem Panda.
Bird humping, baby. Nice.
Hey, I got the time.
Okay, let's start again then. So just for consistency, science versus pseudoscience.
Nope.
No. Science versus scientism. Quantum mechanics, double slit, and quantum eraser explained at this time.
22:44. It's only a very short. I think it goes to 1 second.
And I'm going to play that out now. No, I'm only joking. You'll have to go and check it out. So if you're watching Anon, we haven't given the game away, me or QE, even for Arwen, which I'm quite taken back by. I thought the information just be given straight up because it's Arwen, but clearly not.
It's about 10 minutes.
So
it's from 22:44. There you go.
Hopefully Arwen doesn't take that personally. It's because of Anon. Blame Anon, not QE.
Why don't you put her in charge?
Yeah, useful.
Cure that shit, Hudson.
Yeah, now we've got the aliens quotes coming in. I'm going to use that as an opportunity to round out this after show. So excuse me, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this after show possible. Of course, a massive thank you to all of you in the premiering stream for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. As I say, be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!